These are the players you should keep an eye on during this World Cup. One player from every country, and to keep it interesting, I'm not always going to pick the biggest star, but I'm gonna also pick the ones that can surprise the most. So let's start off with Qatar. Most of us don't really know a lot about Qatar, and we're definitely not expecting them to do well, so any player doing good would surprise us. Their biggest star and the one player to watch is Akram Afif. The 24-year-old played in the youth teams of Serbia and Villarreal, and for the national team he already played 76 times, in which he scored 21 goals and assisted 30 times. So a total of 51 goal contributions. For his club Al Sadd he has 139 goal contributions in 124 matches. Insane. So if Qatar was to shock any nation, it would be likely due to this player. Ecuador is defensively a very solid team. They've not conceded a single goal in their last 6 matches. They drew this year too against Argentina and Brazil, and they're definitely not a team to underestimate. But their problem is that they don't score many goals. So it's only fair to really give a shout out to a defensive player here. And that will be Piero Hincapié. The defender of Bayer Leverkusen is still only 20 years old, but already played 21 times for the national side. And he has played big roles in the defensive record of Ecuador. With Sadio Mane potentially not fit enough to start, Senegal will need to look elsewhere for goals. And that will be a huge task considering Mane is their main goal scorer and they rely heavily on him. Ismaila Sarr from Watford is the one they may have to rely on now though. With his speed it's up to him to break down defenses, and in the World Cup qualifications he scored 4 goals in 10 games. And this season for Watford he also has 9 goal contributions in 17 matches in the championship. You can make a strong case for a lot of the players from the Netherlands. Memphis Depay is always on world class level whenever he plays for the Netherlands. Denzel Dumfries will be very important for the right hand side, and Cody Gakpo is one of the biggest talents with 31 goal contributions in 23 matches for PSV this season. However, I am going to select Xavi Simons as my one player to watch. This season he's had 14 goal contributions for PSV and he is shining. He's not made his debut yet for the national team, but he is youthful, exciting to watch. He has no fear, very strong on the ball, and he could be that real bright spark that the Dutch side needs. He may not be in the starting lineup straight away, but once he has made his work and once he has had a good performance, you can't really keep him out. And before we continue with the rest of the video, I want to give a special thanks to Pookie, who is sponsoring this video. Pookie is a unique football result prediction game built in the Polygon blockchain. You are rewarded for your strategy and prediction skills, and there are no risks involved in their free-to-play version in this World Cup. So you still feel the thrill of betting something on the game, but you're not actually losing any money. So let's go into my prediction for Qatar versus Ecuador. And as we've talked about already in this video, Ecuador is very solid defensively, so I am going to go for a 1-0 win for Ecuador, and Ecuador is not going to concede any goals, and I'm quite confident with that exact result. So now what I do is I select a Pokeball, and I have 2 free Pokeballs which you get when you start the game, so Pokeball 1908 and 1905. And as you can see, you can get different boosts, added boosts, according to which Pokeball you pick. And I'm quite confident in the exact score, so I'm gonna go with a 5% boost if this is the exact score. I also get then a 5% boost if it's under 2.5 goals in the match, and I'll get a 5% boost if it's an away win for Ecuador. So yeah, I will set that prediction, and there we go. So if you think you can make better predictions than me, come compete against me. The link is in the description below. And currently you also have a chance to win a PlayStation 5 with FIFA 23 and gaming vouchers for your console of choice. Wales is a side in terrible form, and one of their bright young sparks is Brennan Johnson. The player of Nottingham Forest has an eye for goal, and he could be a real bright spark for Wales, as every defense is going to be busy just defending Gareth Bale. In the UEFA Nations League, Johnson scored 2 goals and assisted once in the 5 matches that he's played. England has not been in great form either, but one player who is performing at the top of his game is Kieran Trippier. The leader of Newcastle United will be needed to lead this England team to a good result. Trippier will be very important both offensively and defensively, and I'm expecting him to deliver a lot of assists and maybe even bang in a free kick or a long shot this World Cup. Iran has got 2 great forwards with Mehdi Taremi and Sardar Azmoun. Azmoun plays for Bayer Leverkusen, and although he doesn't really play much for the German side, he is probably the most important player for Iran. In 65 matches he's played for the national team, he has scored 41 goals. And in the World Cup qualification alone, he had 27 goal contributions in 28 matches. So don't write Iran off straight away, as offensively they're quite decent. Pulisic is the United States star player, but the one player to watch would be Jesus Ferreira. The 21-year-old from FC Dallas has scored 7 goals and assisted 4 times in the 15 matches he's played for the national team. This season he's been performing well in the MLS too, having had 24 goal contributions in 33 matches so far, and he is someone hoping to do very well in this World Cup to maybe make that move to Europe soon. It's hard to pick anyone else besides Lionel Messi for Argentina, really. He is their main guy, but I will pick a different guy, and I'm gonna shine the light on another veteran, and that is Angel Di Maria. I mean, let's take a moment to just appreciate and celebrate the fantastic career he's had so far and the player he is. Still to this day, he's been very important to Argentina, scoring goals and delivering assists. He's a player with so much quality, but one that is maybe a little bit underrated, as he's always played with players who kind of took the shine away from him. I mean, let's not pretend we know something about Saudi Arabia's team, because you probably don't know anything, I don't know anything. But almost their whole squad consists of players of Al Hilal, Al Ali and Al Nasser. They're taking 13 players from Al Hilal, for example. And that could really benefit them, as a whole lot of this side is playing together on a very regular basis. If we're analyzing the results of Saudi Arabia this year as well, one thing really sticks out. And that is the fact that they do keep a lot of clean sheets. So let's highlight one of their defenders, and that would be Abdullah Al-Amri. He's been a consistent part of the defensive solidity of Saudi Arabia. And I mean, I don't know much about him, but I think he is the player we should keep an eye on. My player to watch from Mexico would be Edson Alvarez. He's not played a lot for Mexico this year, so I don't know whether he will start. But the player of Ajax is a player with that fighter's mentality. He's that annoying little player that you'd rather have in your team than play against. And some top clubs over Europe have been keeping an eye on him, so this World Cup will be a great place for him to show his qualities. For Poland, you could make a great case for Piotr Zielinski, who has been playing for Napoli this season and who has been doing very well. But I'm going to go for a different player, and one that is not always starting in the national team, and that is Sebastian Szymanski. Szymanski is doing very well at Feyenoord this season, and he's a very talented, creative attacking midfielder. He's got a great left foot on him, and he could give that extra little bit of flair when it's needed for Poland. When watching Australia, my eyes will be locked on Garang Kuol. The 18-year-old Australian was recently bought by Newcastle United and is at the moment one of the biggest talents coming out of Australia. He made his debut for Australia in September, and this is the first time where the whole world can see what kind of player Newcastle United has bought themselves. So definitely one to keep an eye on. My pick for France is Theo Hernandez. He is so integral to AC Milan, and he is a joy to watch. Defensively, offensively, he is everywhere on the pitch. He's only played 7 times for the French national side, but already has 1 goal and 4 assists. He could play a very big role for them this World Cup. Joachim Male is my player to watch for Denmark. We saw him shine at the Euros already last year for Denmark, and although he doesn't always play for Atalanta, he is very integral to this Danish national team. He fits in perfectly in the system that Denmark likes to play in, and as a left wing back he has scored 9 goals for this Danish team and assisted 6 times in 31 matches. I don't know a lot about Tunisia, but one player we should keep an eye on that I also really don't know much about, and you may not know a lot about, is Yusuf Makni or Sakni. The 32-year-old has played 87 times for his country and has 37 goal contributions as a winger. He also sometimes is Tunisia's captain, and this season he also has 6 goal contributions in 6 matches for his side Al Arabi. One of the young exciting talents coming out of Costa Rica is Juicin Benet. The Sunderland player has 4 goal contributions in 7 matches for Costa Rica, and the 18-year-old attacker might not necessarily start, but he could be a real bright spark in this aging Costa Rican side. I mean, for Spain I tried to look for someone not as obvious, but we kind of have to go with the obvious, and that is Pedri. The 19-year-old is already one of their star players. He's one of the biggest talents in the world, and for him to keep up this reputation, he would need to shine in this World Cup too. I mean, anything that Spain will create, and if they were to go far in this tournament, it would kind of go down to the technical skills of the players, and Pedri is probably the best at that. I mean, for Germany, we also can't pick anyone else but Jamal Musiala. The 19-year-old has been killing it at Bayern this season. 22 goal contributions in 22 matches. Insane numbers for a 19-year-old. He could well be one of the star players in this German team. He's been in great form, and who knows, he may even be the reason Germany wins this World Cup. anything's possible. Not to put too much pressure on him, of course. Once dubbed the Japanese Lionel Messi, Takefusa Kubo is my player to watch for Japan. He doesn't really deliver a lot of goals or assists, and arguably Daichi Kamada is way more important to this side, and he is a better player at this moment. And he is someone we all really should keep an eye on. But there is something about Kubo. Something that makes me want to see him play and see if he can do it at this World Cup stage, and kind of see what all the hype has been about all these years. A talented player, still only 21. I would love to see him do well. Everyone's expectations for Belgium have gone down this year. We're not expecting them to compete for the trophy, and that is mainly due to their aging defense. Their answer to this might, however, be Zeno de Bast. The 19-year-old from Anderlecht recently made his debut for the national team, and he looked quite comfortable in those 2 matches that he did play. The occasion didn't scare him, and he is a player that could well start for Belgium and the one player to watch to see if they have any good defense for the upcoming years. I mean, everybody knows Alphonso Davies, but Canada's main player is going to be Jonathan David. Up top, he forms a great partnership with Kyle Laring, and David himself has had a very good season for Lille so far. He scored 9 goals in 14 matches for the French side, and if Canada were to score any goals, it would most likely go through David, as he has 35 goal contributions in 34 matches for his national team. Hakimi is the star player for Morocco, but my shout will go out to Hakim Ziyech. I mean, we all kind of forgot about him. He hasn't really made the impact we thought he would have at Chelsea, and he will most likely need to find another club in January, and the World Cup is a great stage to express himself. And I mean, he also really has a point to prove for Morocco, as he refused to play for their previous coach but now is back in the team. His creativity will be very much needed if Morocco was to make it out of this group. Borna Sosa is the one player to watch for Croatia. He did miss this weekend's match for Stuttgart, so his fitness is maybe questionable still, but he's been a very important player for Stuttgart this season, delivering 5 assists in 12 matches from the left-hand side. Inter Milan has also been keeping eyes on him, and they see him as the ideal replacement from Robin Gosens. He's definitely a player who could see his transfer fee rise up significantly if he does well for Croatia. I mean, everybody is going to be talking about the big stars in Brazil's attack, but I want to highlight a defensive player, and that is Marquinhos. In my opinion, he's one of the best defenders in the world, and he is always so integral in the most important matches for Paris Saint-Germain. With his experiences and skills, he could be so integral to Brazil in the matches that they really need to fight to get through. And Marquinhos is, in my opinion, the one player who will be most important in these types of matches. Brazil also rarely concedes goals, and Marquinhos is a big part of that. I mean, everyone's talking about Mitrovic, about Vlahovic, about Milinkovic-Savic, but someone else who could be very important for Serbia is Filip Kostic. From the left-hand side, he will be very important in delivering assists to both Mitrovic and Vlahovic. He's got a great left foot on him, he's got a great cross, and he's great from set pieces. The middle of the park of Switzerland consists of a unit with players who have been in immense form this season. Granit Xhaka, Manuel Akanji, and Fabian Schär. Xhaka is my one player to watch though, as he's been very good for Arsenal this season. His leadership qualities could be very important to this Swiss national team. They definitely have a good team, the Swiss, and Xhaka could be the one player to lead this team to be one of the biggest surprises of the World Cup. Brian Mbeumo has only played twice for Cameroon, but he is my player to watch. Mbeumo is one of the star players of Brentford who have been having a great season in the Premier League. With his speed and skill, he's able to break open defenses on the counter, and this is exactly what Cameroon would need when they're playing the likes of Serbia, Switzerland, and Brazil. Games in which they will most likely play on the back foot, they need someone who is great at counterattacks. With Portugal, I'm picking one of their best players, but one that nobody really seems to pay much attention to, and that is Bernardo Silva. He's one of the best players in the world, and for the Portuguese team, he could also be very integral. He's got 24 assists and 8 goals in 72 matches for Portugal. His creativity in midfield could be from the utmost importance when Portugal are trying to break down defenses. Considering they're one of the favorites in the group, they will most likely play against teams that will play very defensively against them. And Bernardo Silva is very used to playing like this, because at Man City, every team who's playing against Man City is going to defend, and they will have to break down defenses. So he could be very important for this Portuguese team. There's one player to really keep an eye on for Ghana, and that would be Inaki Williams. The star player of Bilbao now plays for Ghana, and this is the first time he could really try to make a mark. This season he's also scored 5 goals in 14 matches for Bilbao, and he will be one of the main players for Ghana going into this tournament. And it's going to be very interesting to see whether he can be the savior for Ghana straight away in this very difficult difficult group. There are a lot of star players at Uruguay and some lesser known players as well, and one of those players is Nicolas de la Cruz. He plays for River Plate, but for the national team he doesn't always play the full 90 minutes, but he's someone that could really shine in this World Cup and that could be wanting to have that move to Europe. In Uruguay's recent win against Canada, he also scored a great free kick, so he could be very important from set pieces as well. He's a quick player, very agile, and I'm very intrigued to see him play at this level. Everybody's eyes are on Heung-min Son, but South Korea's other star player is Kim Min-jae. Since his move to Europe, he's had no problem adjusting to any league he's been in. At Fenerbahce he did really well, and one season later he already was at Napoli to replace Kalidou Koulibaly, and now they've all forgotten Koulibaly already. He fitted in seamlessly, and if South Korea was to do well, the defensive abilities of Kim Min-jae could be very important to this team. So these are my players to watch. Let me know in the comments down below what player I should keep an eye on from your country if I haven't mentioned them yet.